stairwell, ads peeling off the walls. Every face the same face, scrolling through the fall. Cheap glow on your cheekbones, barcode on your sleeve. You say it's just the future, like that lets you leave. We live by broken billboards telling us how to feel. Selling us plastic halos, calling the poison real. If every god is branded and every prayer's a deal, then bless this busted circuit. The last thing I can feel. Cameras in the crosswalk blink red when we kiss. You laugh, they'll use it later. Archive our little risk. Your eyes glitch for a second, soft then hard again, like someone hit a backspace inside your trembling grand. We live by broken billboards telling us how to feel. Selling us plastic halos, calling the poison real. If every god is branded and every prayer's a deal, then bless this busted circuit. The last thing I can feel. You hum an ancient jingle. You say this is our hymn. I trace the cracks in concrete where wild green forces in. If all this noise is holy, if silence is a crime, then let this crooked sax line drag us out of time. Hey, we live by broken billboards telling us how to feel. Selling us plastic halos, calling the poison real. If every god is branded and every prayer's a deal, then bless this busted circuit. The last thing I can feel.
Here's something for the ones who want to go deeper. Your stillness has become the loudest thing in the room. You did not play the victim, and they are panicking. You wear a crown of ash because you have class. It doesn't happen by chance. It's time to do the dance. There was a script script written to control you, but you never auditioned for the part. They did not know that you can improv. You refused to platform their pain on schedule. The second you skipped that scene, the entire play collapsed, because a play cannot survive of an actor stops reading from the script. You wear a crown of ash because you have class. It doesn't happen by chance. It's time to do the dance. Someone is checking your profile for the 10th time today, looking for a crack, looking for a shaky post, one unhinged moment, and it never happens. You wear a crown of ash because you have class. It doesn't happen by chance. It's time to do the dance.
All right. All right. Welcome to Not My Rabbit Hole. And today my guest is Taj. How you doing, Taj?
Hi, I'm good. I'm good, thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just out of the blue, what did you do this weekend? Have you done anything exciting?
Not really. We're watching videos about Jonathan Reed and doing some research for this show, really, to be honest. That's what I've been doing.
Yeah. I've been doing some research on this as well. And I did a show last night on Dean Ryan's show. We did a 90s tribute on Real Deal Media. Yeah, so I did that last night. So that was fun. And but since we did our last show, because when I was in Real Deal Media, Dean Ryan said, that I was the breakout star on his show, and I was like, oh, how nice. And so I want to say that, you're kind of like the breakout star, I think, on Not My Rabbit Hole, really. Yeah, I think so, because when we were doing the Max Spears series and everything, and we got to, investigate stuff, I really enjoyed doing that with you. And I thought, I'm going to bring, I think Taj and I should talk about other things. And so I thought maybe you show me this video in Contact in the Woods, the Dr. Jonathan Reed story. And I'm like, we should actually do something. So I started playing around with AI, and I made these pictures of us. Like I found your picture on Facebook, and you were in the tuxedo. And then that picture that I used. Now this has been kind of morphed weird, but in the pictures that I'm going to show here in just a second, right? I took one, I was actually wearing overalls. And so like, I asked like ChatGPT, I'm like, okay, can you put like Taj in a suit and like put me like in, upscale me into like, a reporter like business suit or whatever. And, I came up with, I'm going to share the screen here for a second. I came up, and when I made these, like, I was just like kind of like laughing hysterically about it, really, because, because I was thinking this is hilarious, the way like that, like, right. Taj and Tere, can you see it? Can you see it on the screen there? Oh, no, you can't. Hold on. I got to do it again. Oh, gosh. All right. Here it is. All right. Right. Can you see that?
That one, yeah.
And and I used it like a version of it here, but here it just cracks me up. Like I when I put it together, I'm like, oh my God, we actually really look good together, like doing these investigations, like we're like reporters on the scene in the UFO community, right? And and then you told me, like you said that you look like dark journalist kind of in the photo, right?
Yeah, without the goatee.
Without the goatee. And so you said, you thought maybe I should put a goatee and see how that looks. So I actually asked ChatGPT to do a goatee. Here, let me bring this down here for a moment. to make one with Taj with the goatee on it. Okay. Wait for it. Okay, wait for it, guys. Hold on. Let me find it here again. Wait. Okay, and here's you with the goatee, and swear to God, he looked like Dark Journalist.
I look like the Indian dark journalist.
Right.
I did have a goatee a long time ago. Maybe I should grow one back.
Right, yeah. So I just thought that was like really, really, really funny. So we're gonna talk about the Jonathan Reed story. We've got some people in the chat here. Hello, Friday, rainy Canada, One Love. Welcome, One Love. Seren's here, so welcome, Seren. So yeah, welcome everybody. All right, so let's get this party started here. So what would you do if you encountered something in the woods that you couldn't explain? Would you run? Would you call the police? Would you take pictures? Or would you wrap it in a thermal blanket, put it in your vehicle, and take it home? Hello, everyone. I'm Tere Joyce, and welcome to My Rabbit Hole, where we take a closer look at the strange stories, controversial personalities, and extraordinary claims hiding at the intersection of belief, media, and modern mythology. Welcome to Not My Rabbit Hole.
He ain't no Saint Germain, no crime, no name. He plays the game, sharp as a flame. Who's to blame for the stolen fame? A shadow dance in the devil's frame. Go in a rabbit hole, losing control, spinning wild on a stripper pole. Laughing loud, all for the lulz, but baby, that's not my rabbit hole. City lights and sirens scream, truth and lies blend like a dream. Wicked smiles, a clever scheme, chasing gold in the neon gleam. Go in the rabbit hole, losing control, spinning wild on the stripper pole. Laughing loud, all for the lulz, but baby, that's not my rabbit hole. Fast, can't find the ground. Echoes of chaos all around. You chose this dance, this mad parade, but not every choice gets accolades. Go in the rabbit hole, losing control, spinning wild on a stripper pole. Laughing loud, all for the lulz, but baby, that's not my rabbit hole. Spinning wild on a stripper pole. Laughing loud, all for the lulz, but baby, that's not my rabbit hole. City lights and sirens scream, truth and lies blend like a dream. Wicked smiles, a clever scheme, chasing gold in the neon gleam. Going down the rabbit hole, losing control, spinning wild on the stripper pole. Laughing loud, all for the lows, but baby, that's not my rabbit hole.
Rabbit hole. So here's what happened in terms of the testimony of what happened to Dr. Jonathan Reed. According to the story, Reed has told since the late 1990s. On October 15th, 1996, he was hiking in Washington's Cascade Mountains, reportedly around the Snoqualmie Pass area. His golden retriever, Susie, ran ahead and confronted a small humanoid being. Reed claimed the being emitted a vibration or energy that disintegrated, pulverized, or otherwise destroyed the dog. Reed struck the being in the head with a large tree branch. He experienced severe nausea, disorientation, trembling, and vomiting. Nearby, he discovered a hovering black obelisk or diamond-shaped object. He photographed and videotaped the object and the injured being. He wrapped the being in a thermal blanket, transported it home, and placed it inside of a freezer. And Reed later recorded himself examining the body. He said the being was not dead and eventually began moving or screaming. He claimed government connection individuals entered his home, removed evidence and records, threatened him, and attempted to suppress the story. All right, and then here, let me just add just a little bit more. Reed later called the black wrist-mounted artifact associated with the being the link. In subsequent demonstrations, he claimed the link could distort space, interact with consciousness, and possibly transport or dematerialize a person. Reed repeated the account in his book Link, An Extraterrestrial Odyssey, originally privately published in 2000 with co-author Robert Rath. He also appeared repeatedly with Art Bell and at UFO conferences. A surviving 2013 Art Bell appearance again places the alleged incident near Snoqualmie Pass and includes the dog, the bean, Reed's illness, and the black obelisk. Art Bell, and this is part of the Art Bell archive. So, Taj, we watched a documentary about this, and so, what are your thoughts on just the documentary in general? That it pretty much explained what I just shared.
The documentary is quite good. I mean, I know about this story. I saw it a few years ago on like a YouTube video. It was only like a brief 10-15 minute video about the story and the video clips. And the documentary goes a bit more in depth and shows better quality video. It is like a lot of people have made videos about it in the last few months. This has come out, and most people think it's real. I mean, it looks pretty real. The story itself, as we will discuss, has holes in it. Now that we've actually looked into it, the documentary itself doesn't go into any of those. They just take him for, what he's saying, take it as truth.
Right. Basically what they do, like, you know how like documentaries like sometimes look at all sides of a story, and it's basically, and that's one of the criticisms about Dr. Reed, is that it's basically it's still testimony. It was really like, it should have been called a movie about someone's testimony rather than calling it an official documentary. That is like one of the criticisms that come out about it.
Yeah, I mean, the video looks good for like, what was it, 1996? So, but then, like we were talking earlier, there's similar videos that came out around that period for the alien autopsy, which has got a lot of criticism that was faked. So you can do a comparison with the alien autopsy. There's a lot more investigations and videos and blogs and so forth about the alien autopsy than there are about Jonathan Reed. But because it's been 30 years, I don't know why they waited 30 years to make this documentary. But the video itself looks good. When he's like unwrapping it, I don't know if you're going to show any of the video.
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
But when he's unwrapping it, it's blinking. But the blinking is very strange. Like someone's added it after. It doesn't look, I don't know if it's like the angle. I mean, it's very low quality, low resolution video, even for 1996, he probably filmed it on some camcorder and then digitized it, and the quality is not there. You make any, there's no like details, and even if you freeze frame it, you can't really see much details of the face or the body. I think there's one point where he zooms into the hands, and you can't really tell what you're supposed to be looking at. Like it's got 3 fingers or looks like a hoof or something. But it's very like low quality videos, so that's the only problem. There are some high resolution photos of the face.
Here's like where, and I'm going to show just some footage. I'm going to try to like take the sound back off of it, but here's like what you're talking about here. I'm going to show like the footage that's right here. Okay. And so
So
this is like, yeah,
this is the
explain.
day after. So he's taken it. He put it in the freezer. Next day after, he decided, oh, I'm going to unwrap it and whatever, and he videotapes the whole thing. And you can see, like, it's not real. I mean, you can sort of see the eye slits. I think it's like trying to open the eye there to show there's an eye.
Yeah.
You see the slit for the mouth. You can't see any details like the skin. You can see ridges and things, I think, in the face, but it's hard to tell.
You know, I've had people say that he looks like, or I've seen photos of this alien next to Brzezinski and saying how they look similar to each other. You know, I finally put two and two together that it's basically this alien. Now, the documentary is actually on YouTube for free. You can watch it, but it's on other places like Tubi and Amazon and everything. Why do you think
there was a hand there?
Yeah.
You can't really tell like what you're supposed to be looking at there in the back of the head where he bashed it in. And some people say that he's made this out of paper mache or something. I mean,
are some people saying that's made out of paper mache?
Yeah, but you can't move a head like that with paper mache. These are like better quality.
Right. And then you can see where he has the injury, like that one picture that was on the far right was explaining that. And here, let me get back to the video here. So I'm going to like push it further a little bit here. Here's the link bracelet. I don't really want to go into that because I'm going to show I'm going to show a little bit of a clip as well. I don't know. My impression of the film. Well, first of all, I'm kind of curious before I go into my impression of the film. Why do you think that this is being released again, like right now? I mean, this is basically an old story, old footage. I mean, this is something that's been completely rehashed. Why do you think that there's been this new documentary release? It's kind of like being rehashed. What's your thoughts on that, Taj?
Well, it's all about disclosure right now, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Everyone's talking about disclosure. Maybe they thought they'd cash in on the whole interest in disclosure. And this is a forgotten story, and I mean, all they're doing is just retelling the same story from 30 years ago. They haven't produced any new evidence or any new photographs, new video. It's just the old stuff from the 90s. The only reason I can think is they're trying to just jump on the disclosure bandwagon and, make some money out of it. I don't know if Jonathan Reed was paid at all for the documentary, but it seems to be quite popular. It's on multiple platforms. That's my take on it. I don't know.
Yeah, that's my take on it. I think, I think it's a good question to ask because it is old. It is from the 1990s. In a sense, you can say that Dr. Jonathan Reed in the story is part of like the UFO mythology or folklore even. I mean, I want to call it like totally that because there are some reasons why I thought maybe it was real when I was watching the documentary. And then there were some things that I really had to question. And, Tosh, I'm a little bit more of a skeptic. I wouldn't say skeptic, but I look at things and I go, well, I don't know about that. I have to, I don't know. So the first thing that caught me about the movie that I thought was how dramatic it was. And deep in the woods, he found something that he never knew, something frightening, something whatever. And then there was this like, dramatic music, like, oh, I'm like, okay, I'm a little past this, right? I think as a community, as a UFO community, we're a little past that. And again, it's kind of like, it reminds me of the thing that Elon Musk did where he had this flying car or something like that. Or what was that car that he made? And then it looked really unrealistic. And he goes, it's really weird, but things that are real look really fake. And I'm like, come on, stop. What was it? What was it?
He sent the car into space.
Right.
He put a space suit in the driving seat, and then he shot it into space, and it was like floating in space, and people were saying it looked fake. And what was he saying? Oh, it looks so good. It was probably, I can't remember the exact comment.
It looked fake. Yeah. It's hard to tell what's real and not real, especially now that you have AI and everything. Like it's like you really have to like question the authenticity. But again, even with Dr. Jonathan Reed, who's not really a doctor, maybe even like that, like, where was he? He was like, there's no confirmation that he was an actual doctor.
And do you want to mention his real name or?
Yeah, we're gonna say everything. And actually, I even found that in my research, like, you know, what his real name is. Something Butler. I'll look it up again, but the last name is Butler, if I can remember right. Or is it? It's like Rutler. It's not Butler. It's Rutler.
Rutler, was it?
Yeah. So, but again, I had trouble with the way that the viewpoint of the documentary felt, because it was so over the top. I felt it could be easily parodied into a comedy. It was that the opening, like and then like with the body, right? You know, like it would shoot the body because it's a reenactment, but you could hear it going. I'm like, no, it's that. Why even add that in there? Because it to me it was obviously a voiceover, and I thought it was completely unnecessary to, you know, apparently it was supposed to be the alien, but the alien sounded like it was human in its vocal cords. Like, why act that out? That's the part that I really had an issue with. In fact, in this footage, you can even see it, because I'm going to play a little bit of this video. But I felt like you're going to say something, though. Do you have any thoughts on what I'm saying?
I always thought it was him, like huffing and puffing.
It was him. Okay, I get it.
I thought it was him because he was like, you know, stressed, or he was like, you know, fighting this thing, or the thing attacked his dog, and he was like trying to get the dog off. Away from it, and then he just whacked it over the head. He was probably like, I don't know, huffing and puffing from that. And then it said something about, I was reading it earlier today, that he picked it up and carried it like an hour and a half to his car. And I was thinking, like, who takes their dog for a walk and walks an hour and a half away from their car?
Right. Okay.
That's a weird one as well.
That's weird.
Maybe like 20 minutes or 15, 20 minutes from your car, but
maybe it felt like an hour and a half, but it wasn't really an hour and a half. It was more like,
I don't know.
And he said it was really light, like it felt like it had like no bones.
50 pounds, 55 pounds.
I thought it was less than that. I thought it was like 30 or something.
30 pounds.
Maybe it's 50.
Yeah, and even the way it's orientated on the metal, the blanket, it looks like, there's no bone, there's no solid structure to it.
All right, I want to say one other thing too, because I thought in the documentary, you know, he went back and filmed things, but he didn't have a video camera at the time that he was there. But then it seems like he was taking a walk, but he had a camera with him automatically, right? Like we're talking, right? It's like, how convenient. Like, was he a photographer? Was he going to photograph his dog in the woods?
Yeah, like, he also had a thermal blanket with him as well.
Right. Well, didn't he go back and get the thermal blanket, or did he? Oh no, he had the thermal blanket with him. That's right.
I don't know. Did he carry a thermal blanket in his? Who carries a thermal blanket in their car? I don't know.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Oh, I might meet an alien. Let me have thermal blanket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A strange one. And the what was the other thing? The obelisk, the black, like floating UFO, that 10-foot UFO that was just floating there.
Yeah, I'm gonna show that actually.
The video of that isn't really great either.
Okay, so I want to show a little bit of this footage from this video, right? Let me see if I kind of like let it like just kind of show people, because we're talking about it, because I had never heard of this story before, but I'm sure a lot of people know of this one, right? Because it seems like it's been like a staple of everything.
It was popular 20 years ago, 25 years ago, but people have forgotten about it.
And it looked like he was like doing conferences and stuff like that, right? Let me make sure. I know I turned the volume down in this one. Let me see if I could get the volume back up again.
Come on, work. What? Stop.
The year is 1996. The Space Jam is in theaters, and the Macarena would be the #1 song in America for 14 straight weeks. And it was also the year a man in Washington State would have his life ruined while simultaneously changing the world of ufology forever. His story has also become a fan favorite among the coast-to-coast Art Bell community, yet still polarizes critics and skeptics alike to this day. This is the story of Dr. Jonathan Reed, the man who claimed to have killed an alien and lived to tell the tale. And it's also the story of how the government pulled an amazing cover-up in plain sight. During mid-October, Dr. Jonathan Reed, a child psychiatrist for Washington Medical Center, was on a nature walk with his loyal...
Okay, and let me interrupt in this too, because there is no proof, again, that that he was ever a child psychologist.
Yeah, I found a link to the Washington State, was it the website where you could search, and his name's not on there as a doctor of psychology from Washington State.
Yeah, because it says the most serious challenge is that the UFO investigators reported that Dr. Jonathan Reed was actually Seattle resident John Bradley Rudder. UFO Watchdog identifies Reed as John Bradley Rudder and reports that investigators could not substantiate the claimed doctorate, psychology practice, or university qualifications. And that's according to UFO Watchdog. A separate Seattle area UFO group reached essentially the same conclusion. Its investigators reported finding no evidence supporting Reed's academic credentials and identified him as Rudder, R-U-T-T-E-R. That's very, very different from the Butler. Okay. The group's account incorporates portions of 2001 Seattle Weekly Investigation, Northwest Museum of Legends, and the Lore Report. Reed's explanation has generally been that hostile officials erased or altered his records. That creates an evidentiary problem. The absence of credentials become incorporated into the cover-up narrative instead of functioning as evidence against the claims. So for the story to be evaluated responsibly, the documentary should provide independently verified records showing his full identity, his degrees in awarding institutions, his professional licenses, his employment as a psychologist or a child psychologist, and contemporaneous colleagues, patients, or supervisors. So that's kind of like a missing area in terms of his narrative. Now, maybe if he didn't say that he was, a doctor, then, it wouldn't have to be like confirmed or debunked. What do you think about that, Taj?
Well, if he's a doctor, he's got patients, right?
Right.
So why haven't any patients come forward and say, "Oh, yeah, he's my doctor"? It's not that difficult to, if he's a doctor of psychology, even for children, then no, why wouldn't anyone come forward and confirm that? And he would have certificates and qualifications. It's not like they just disappear unless he's going to say they broke into his place and they took all of his qualifications, certificates and stuff. And he would have, I don't know where he practiced. If he practiced in a school or some kind of medical facility, there would be records, of his patients. And in that area in Washington State, if anyone heard his name, his real name, they would say, "Oh, that's my doctor, that's my psychologist," and they would, come forward, no? Wouldn't you think?
Right. Yeah, no, they would come forward. And that is kind of a repetitive thing, even the fact that he even owned a dog. But let's continue here on the footage a little bit.
Golden Retriever Susie up in the Cascade Mountains, about 60 miles away from Seattle, Washington. He had parked his Jeep and had walked about an hour and a half away from it, taking some basic supplies like food, a pocket knife, cameras, and a thermal blanket. He and Susie had gone on one of the main trails.
I'm pretty sure he didn't bring Monster because I don't think
Okay.
right that drink didn't exist back then, right? You know. Okay, let's continue.
But then took a detour away from it. It was an overcast afternoon day, but otherwise no different than any other. Dr. Reed, in subsequent interviews, would describe this as having been a regular hobby of his. There was nothing out of the ordinary, and this hike was no different than the ones he had gone on time and time again. That is until Susie suddenly bolted ahead of him and out of his sight. Initially to Reed, this wasn't too strange, as Susie would regularly chase after squirrels or raccoons, but then things began to fall apart. There was soon cause for concern, as her barking soon became yelping.
Oh my god, this is like extra funny. Anyway, so let's go on. I mean, they're adding the bark and everything. Let's go to here. Okay, all right, here we go.
Outfit. And this thing was also vibrating, describing it moving like a paint shaker. Every limb was moving so fast that it was just a blur of motion. This alien then ripped Susie open by the jaws, pulling her apart, and a fleshy pseudopod, being a temporary arm-like protrusion, extended from the alien's suit and stabbed into her body. And
Okay, I didn't hear that part. According, like in the documentary, Dr. Reed says that he was like swinging her around, and then like because he heard Susie barking, he was in the woods. He heard Susie barking. He went to go help her, and then saw this being like just ripping him back and forth, just ripping into her and everything. And she was screaming and in pain. And then all of a sudden, she just like poofed in midair and disappeared.
Yeah, turned to dust, apparently.
Right. Yeah. Turn to dust. Yeah. At which point he pulled, what was it? Like, was it a branch? It was something where
he just picked something up off the ground, a branch, and whacked
it in the head. Right. And then I think this footage has like some of that. Okay, so here's what we showed this a little bit earlier, but I'm gonna show it again with the volume. Okay, so he whacked in the head. He thought he killed it, and then he had a thermal blanket right in his car. Was that it? Right?
Yeah, he had a camcorder and a thermal blanket. And
a camcorder. He was prepared, really.
Going on a hike. I'm just going for a hike, and I'll just bring my camcorder just in case.
And a thermal blanket.
Something interesting in the woods,
Right. I mean, granted, that's a beautiful area. You want to take pictures, but then he had his camera and everything else. Okay, so here we go.
Wraps the Mylar thermal blanket to record a more up-close examination of this corpse, making a video 8 minutes in length. As the camera is placed closer, we can now get a better look at this alien. Dr. Reed touches the face and opens the mouth. He then moves to the eyes and attempts to pry them open. He describes this with Art Bell.
Anyway, I was trying to open the eyelids, and the tissue that made up the eyelid and muscle was very, very tough. Facial structure of this creature was very old looking, very coarse skin, almost like a pig's skin.
Yeah, and you can see veins, clearly, or what we would think of veins anyway.
Right. The neck was exposed.
So I guess this is the footage of him being on Art Bell, but it looks like there's like blood coming out or like around the head part there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They bashed it out. I think there was a bit where they showed like a flap of skin as well when he from the back of the head where he's bashed it in. There is a weird bit. I don't know if you can rewind when he's unwrapping it, where the alien blinks and it just does. It looks a bit weird. Like I don't know if they show it in this one.
Right, there is that one too. Let me see if they have it.
I think it's just
maybe there's another one like that. But I know it has when you see it blinking, that's when it looks like it's real.
Yeah, but to me it looks like that's an after effect. Someone's added that. I don't think it's in here. It's probably not in this one. They've cut it out of this for some reason. They just go straight into him unwrapping it, but they don't show the bit where the alien's blinking.
Right. Let me see, what else do we have here? Yeah, it doesn't have the blink. It spends some time on this part here.
In the fabric, about 4 to 5 inches, and within a second, it started to almost gelatinize and come together.
Sort of
form itself.
Yeah, sort of an instant healing.
On the third attempt at cutting it, the fabric adhered to the knife, stopping it from cutting further. On the fourth day of having this corpse in his possession, Reed arranged a more thorough examination of the corpse with someone that worked at the university nearby, only to have that person mysteriously cancel on the day they had scheduled for. As he walked around his home frustrated, he heard a strange noise from the garage. He initially thought it might be the compressor of the refrigerator going out, but the true source of this noise was far more terrifying, because it was the creature, and it wasn't dead. And this is what he claims is the alien screaming as he opened the fridge top. He described the scream as follows on Art Bell.
You feel like something was pushing against your chest. It felt like the air was moving.
During this time, Reed also claimed that he would occasionally interact with and try to communicate with Freddy, as he began to refer to it. It was at this point that Gary and Dr. Reed had become aware that they were also being followed and stalked, because very soon after Gary became involved with Reed, they had called various ufology groups, including MUFON, asking them what to do if, hypothetically, they had an alien corpse. Looking back at this moment, Reed recounts that he had talked to people alleging to be MUFON representatives and talked to them and gave them information, but it turned out they were never actually affiliated with MUFON. And from this point on, and each day after, forces of a greater government machine would progressively make their...
Okay, you know what? I might actually have, like, I have some other footage that I want to see if it has it with the eyes blinking. Because like everybody kind of shows a little bit different of something. So let me go to this one. Let's start with this one. All right. And this kind of has a similar opening.
Either on the ground bleeding.
Or let me see. Is this the same thing? No. Okay. Yeah. This has got. Actually, no, this is all the wood stuff, but it's got a little bit of a different thing here. Let's play this one for a minute. Okay, that's the part where I'm like, I can't. I mean, you know, like that gets me all the time.
Focus. This creature, this body that lay on the ground bleeding in front of me, from the wound that I inflicted, only the remains of my dog, this white powder, this white ash at the feet of this creature, and this floating black object that I call the obelisk, floating in the air, not touching the ground. I photographed all of this with the video camera and with a still camera, hoping that something would be recorded, hoping somehow to record this moment and regain my sanity.
All right, let me stop it right here. You can definitely see like the camera recorder, kind of like the tape going through, right? So it's very, you know, I think maybe like this is a reason why people think that this is real, because we're used to seeing footage that it's raw, right? Like if it looks raw, then you go, okay, so it hasn't been tampered with. I think psychologically. What do you think about that?
Well, there've been multiple requests from him to supply the original video, the original negatives, and everything, and he hasn't for, like, you know, examination. So for whatever reason, he hasn't been able to supply the original videotape from the camcorder, the original negatives for the photos, any other evidence. None of it's been like examined on a what we would call like a criminal investigation level. Yeah, so he provides clips, he provides the videos, he provides photographs, but he won't give you the negatives or the original video, so you can verify that it's all the kind of thing you would do in a criminal investigation. You would need original footage. You wouldn't just get the footage from the person who's saying, oh, this is what happened to me, here's some videos, here's some clips, here's some photographs I took, and they would say, well, can we have the negatives then, can we have the original video? And he's never been able to provide those. So that's the question on has it been edited, is it all fabricated, I mean, it's a lot of effort to go to just to fabricate this story and to make these videos and photographs and a fake alien and the floating obelisk and fabricate this story. For what purpose? What would his motive be for creating this fantastical story?
Well, I mean, what's motivation for anybody to create a fantastical story? I mean, obviously somehow you're probably gonna get, you have notoriety, number one. One of the things that he argues in the documentary, like people like criticized him, like marketing himself and like maybe profiting from this. And he says, well, my entire life is ruined by this. This is because he talks about how he was shot at and all these other different things. But, and so, the story of being shot at and injured and everything like that is
but again, where's the medical records, where's the hospital did he go to, who treated him, was there any follow-up visits, he was shot in the shoulder, were there any medical records or anything? No one's seen any of that. We've seen photographs and like a little video of someone filming him around his back and whatever, but again, you don't see the face of the person. It could be anybody who's been shot. And he hasn't provided, again, any medical records, what doctor treated him, what hospital was he treated in, when was he treated. Again, none of that exists.
Yeah.
So it's a question mark over that even.
I saw a video that maybe it's the one that I'm going to show here. I think so, actually. There's a video of a comparison of this guy that was in like some sort of shooting incident, and he was shot in the head, and he takes a picture of himself, like kind of like a selfie kind of thing. And people and they criticized it, and they said that it looked like that that he took, Dr. Jonathan Reed, or Rutter, if you want to, say, okay, Mr. Rutter, looks like he took maybe a selfie with his camera at that time. And there's this kind of comparison of like, maybe like, I'm talking about like after, because like he was in a car accident too and got all injured as well, and so he takes this picture of himself at, it's like he took a selfie with his camera. And so some people have talked a discrepancy about that. And in the second half here, I'm going to show, because there's a guy out there who interviewed Dr. Jonathan Reed. There's a video I have pulled up, like a UFO researcher on YouTube, and he interviewed him, and then Dr. Jonathan Reed sent him some photos, and we're going to go over his discussion of some of those photos and why he thought like some of it made him question Dr. Jonathan Reed more. But I want to talk about this obelisk here. I think we've got it up on the screen there. In terms of, hold on. It's, the black diamond shaped object is visually striking, right? However, footage does not establish its dimension, its weight, its distance from the camera, whether it's actually hovering, whether supports were concealed, whether it's a small foreground object, whether it could move or fly, whether it possessed unusual material properties. And so that is, people have questioned those things about it. Like,
I mean, well, he describes it around 10 feet across, which is, if the alien was, the alien's probably like, 4 or 5 feet or something. So it's quite a small craft. It doesn't look like it's very tall either. Maybe that's 10 feet. Maybe it's maybe like 3-4 feet in height at its maximum, I guess. So it's quite a. It's like it's built for one person or one alien or whatever you want to call it. It's a very small craft for the alien. Is the other thing I would say. I mean, it doesn't mention anything about any noises. You don't hear any noises in the video. All you can hear is him panting anyway. So I don't know how you would, if it was making any noises, you probably wouldn't be able to hear it because he's like breathing so heavily in the video. Yeah, I mean, if it was hovering, a lot of people describe these crafts. There's no real noise. Whatever propulsion system it uses doesn't generate any noise. But then he doesn't say what happens to the craft, whether it was still there when he picked up the alien and walked off. Did it shoot up to the sky? Did it just stay there? While he bashed the alien's head in, the spacecraft just sat there. You would think that there would be like some kind of communication going on between the alien and the craft, or the craft and some mothership or something. Maybe, I don't know, but. Again, the video is not very good quality.
Yeah, I'm gonna like let this play out, like just to look at the alien craft here for a bit, right? So I mean, this is him coming in. There's the alien craft. Yeah,
like switches and things underneath that could hide a support,
right?
You can see like it could be on a pedestal or something, some kind of support.
I mean, it looks like it's hovering, but it kind of looks like, yeah, it looks. I mean, you don't know if there's strings, if there's a support. I mean, the footage it's not good, really. You can't really get a good look at it. And where did the craft go? Here's another thing that I want to bring up too. This is the documentary, and I want to talk a little bit about the documentary. First of all, okay, so Content of the Woods is it's about an hour long. It was released in 2026. Like I said, it's available on Prime Video, Tubi, Apple TV, and YouTube. The film was produced by the Cousins Brothers Productions. Its listed studio is Dr. Jonathan Reed Productions. Reed appears at the documentaries as the principal subject and star of the documentary. UFO personality Jamie, I hope I'm saying this, Masson, is also associated with the film.
Yeah,
and a lot of people...
Amy Masson's like quite a big researcher back in the 80s and 90s, I guess.
Yeah, isn't he from Mexico?
Yeah. Jaime Masson?
It's Jaime Masson. Yeah. And they also said that, he's very popular in Mexico. Apparently, Dr. Jonathan Reed, it really has gone over. Like that's a country that really believes in him because of Jaime Masson.
Yeah, he went on a Mexican show where he brought the link thing in a tube. There's like I don't know if you've seen that video. He's on the show, and they bring out this really impressive big case that he opens up the briefcase, and there's like a moment where he lifts it out, and this is the link, the bracelet thing, and everyone's like looking at it all going, oh wow, this is all amazing. But the link thing again, where is it? What happened to it? Firstly, and the whole video of him disappearing on live TV. Again, that video footage is even worse than the video we've been watching. It's just a big flash, and then a few seconds later, another big flash, and he appears, and you can hear the audience going, "Ooh, wow!" in the background.
Yeah. The link. Okay, the link is really So, and that's the thing. Like, okay, first, it doesn't just stop, right? Like, okay, you have the dog story, which people dispute. But you also have, for example, the dog. The problem with the dog that people say is, I'm gonna pull this up a little bit. in terms of like how people felt about the dog, because I bullet pointed a few things on that.
Yeah, the photos of the dog, all the photos of the dog look like stock photos from someone who's downloaded off the internet. There's no photos of him with the dog.
Right.
If you have a dog, you have like loads of photos of you.
Right.
You love your dog. Everyone takes pictures of their dog and cat these days.
And there was one like it was cropped really short. And there's this one, I'm going to show the video about how he explains that. It was like it's cropped real close, so you can't see much of the background. But let's get back to the link bracelet. Okay, let me share the screen here, because like in this footage you can actually see the link. So okay, so Taj, like tell us about like the link footage on this.
It's just the
here we go. Here we go.
Yeah, so for anyone who doesn't know, this bracelet was found next to the alien. Okay, he claims that it's been sent away and analyzed. Again, no proof. He hasn't shown any like laboratory results or anything like that, and he's claiming it's made of exotic materials, some of which are not found on Earth. Okay, and he claimed that when he got home, I think he put it on his wrist. And it tightened around his wrist or something. On the inside, there are needles that go into your skin. And it, I don't know, it somehow adjusts to your wrist and fits onto your wrist. And then later on, he took it on to, I think it was it a Mexican show? I can't remember if it was a Mexican show or an American show, or maybe even a Canadian show. And he sat there, he's explaining what it is. He puts it on his wrist and he starts going like, like he's like passing out or something. And he's like starts talking really slowly, and then all of a sudden there's a big white flash, and he disappears, and the audience goes like they're amazed, and then maybe 5-10 seconds later there's another big flash, and he suddenly reappears. And then the way he explained it is when he disappeared, he was like in another dimension, like in what we would call the astral or something. He disappeared into the astral somewhere, and then he came back. That's his explanation of what the link bracelet is. And there's a few, I think there's another one where they try and decipher the symbols, and there's like random like old, not hieroglyphics, maybe Sumerian or something like that he's trying to line up the symbols so they look like the ones on the bracelet. But again, there's no proof that he ever sent it off to be analyzed. There's no one's come forward and said, yes, I've analyzed this bracelet. Here's the results. This is what it's made of. These are not even materials that are found on Earth. This is the lab where it was all done, when it was done, who done it. None of that exists. Again, you have to take his word for it.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So again, anybody could make something like that, a jeweler or a what do you call it, like in the movie industry they have like a
you could easily make this, and it kind of almost remembers of like what Wonder Woman wears on her arm in a way.
It looks like something.
Yeah. And then I've seen like I saw like a chart of like these symbols next to like ancient, like maybe Egyptian symbols in the comparison. I want to interject like how I that footage, right? So apparently he goes on some sort of show. It's still like you can't see the audience. It feels very edited.
It's a crop picture,
it's close up, and then he puts it on his wrist, and I'm not sure if it's gonna happen or not, but it goes into my skin, and then I bleep out, and then like apparently he bleeped out, and you hear the audience going, ah, and they're all screaming and doing all this stuff and everything like that, and then he like comes back and he heaves over, and so it was it's nothing that you can do stuff like this in a studio. It was edited. There was no real big, large master shot of the crowd or the place. There's no description of what show he was on.
Yeah. And again, he claimed there were like 200 people in the audience, and not one of them has ever come forward and said, I witnessed this in person. It did happen. I was there. You know, this is when it happened, and this is my name. No, none of those audience members, none of the film, you know, the crew who was there filming it, any of the production team, no one's come forward and said this is, you know, I was there when it happened. Apart from him, you know, obviously, apart from Dr. Jonathan, or Dr. what his real name is. Yeah, no one's come forward from that show. There's probably like a couple hundred people there who witnessed it. Not one person's come forward. Said they were there.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's no other witnesses to that audience, which is also really interesting. That's a really good point to bring up. So now, what was it? Oh, I wanted to talk about, before we go to the break for a second, because we're going to take a break. I wanted to talk about the pictures that you sent me about the sexting on Facebook. So let's talk about that, because that, to me, that's like an interesting topic to talk about.
Okay. So all I know is that there are pictures going around of Dr. Jonathan Reed that are explicit in nature, would you say?
Yeah.
He sent to a woman. I don't know if they were on Facebook or another platform. But again, this could be like someone trying to discredit him, make him look like a pervert or whatever, or something. It's just some guy sending, you know, nude pictures to a woman, which, you know, I mean, he looks like probably in his like 40s or 50s when they're, I don't know, 50s or something, when they were, so not exactly, you know, like a buff sort of guy pictures, you know. But again, I spared you the, you know, the explicit bit, you know, of the photos, but you can, yeah, you can surmise what the rest of the photos look like. And he apparently sent these to at least one woman anyway. I don't know, maybe multiple women, but I don't know what you make of that.
I thought, well, you gave me the cropped version of it. You know, my statement on that is that, you know, you have to be careful about what you do in DMs on Facebook, especially if you are a public personality. You know, it's like, I wasn't, I mean, it looks authentic. I mean, it's hard. Like, some people might say, well, you know, they threw that out there because they were trying to sabotage him. You know, that, you know, when people want to go against you, they will throw whatever they can out, you know, and if they are able to get something like that to like discredit you or humiliate you or you know, cause you know, a distraction, they will use those kind of things. So I just say, like, you know, my advice is that do not do any sexting with anybody. And because you never know what's going to happen in your life. And, you know, you might become a Dr. Jonathan Reed. And if there's, you know, pictures out there, I mean, I just want to thank you for, like, because you said that you had the photos where it was like, you know, you saw his Mr. Happy, basically.
Well, yeah,
right?
I don't want to see this, well, whatever. Yeah, I mean.
So tell me, Tash, is he hung? Is he hung, or is he?
I didn't see that bit. My friend spared me.
Sorry.
My friend said, I'll spare you from my friend has the full message, but he said, I'll spare you the explicit bits, but this is, you know, what was sent. But again, like you said, it's not relevant to the story. You know, I mean, yeah, okay, so he sent some dirty pictures to some women.
Right.
And what's that got to do with the story?
Right.
You know, I mean, so there's a lot of guys out there probably doing the same thing. It's, you know, his private life is what he does in his private life is up to him.
Right.
You know, we're talking about the story, so you could say, yeah, it's a distraction. You know, everyone's saying, "Oh, look, he's a dirty little pervert."
Yeah. But
and so you can't. So he's a liar. Does that make him a liar? Because he's a pervert. Does that make him a liar?
Well, I mean,
You know?
and it's like, I mean, I'm not saying. I mean, it seems like sexting is a common thing that happens, right? So whether you want it or not, but you know, I guess, like, where is the line of pervert if like two people are consenting to share those kind of photos? Now, if he sent those photos to somebody unsolicited, like, like, hey, you send somebody a Facebook, request, and then you start talking to them and they go, hey, here's me. I mean, I've kind of had that happen before. Like, the upper part of it, like I kind of had like, I had a guy who, didn't have a shirt on. It was like, I barely knew him. Like, no, this is not going where I want it to. So some people do stuff like that. Or if they do just send a naked picture of you and you didn't ask for it, that's kind of like a PP, one of those people that would do the flash you, right? What do you call those guys? Those creepy guys, flash. Yeah, it's kind of like being a flasher on the internet. But if he was just like, somebody was like, I think Dr. Jonathan Reed is pretty hot, and he's I want some UFO chooch. I think that, what's wrong with that? It's just unfortunate. Or maybe somebody set him up. Like maybe there's somebody who wanted to get that picture and goes, hey, I want to check out the goods. So, take a picture and show it to me. Like maybe, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Yeah. Well, on that note, we're going to take a quick break. I'm going to play a song. We're going to come back and we're going to go into, and I can't wait to show this because exclusive Dr. Jonathan Reed analysis and final thoughts by a guy. He goes by Polarity on his channel, and he shows some interest. Yeah. You know him?
Yeah, I know his channel. Yeah. So we're gonna go into because he has some photos that really will make you wonder about what's going on. So stay tuned. We're gonna play a song from the Not My Rabbit Hole Astral Records 6980 list. I'm gonna do Signal from the Orchards, and then I'll play like a quick little video. So it's like a song, 2 songs, 2 and 2. We will be back.
Static sky, strange fruit in the playground grass. Your old bike, frozen where you left it last. Billboards pray to a language we forgot. Then you came, falling through a parking lot. Signal from the orchard, drifting through my crooked teeth. You say we watched you worship every glowing little scream. Take me past the border of this rusted memory. Signal from the orchard, teach my tired eyes to see. Glass-eyed crows perched on every power line, counting votes cast by every traffic sign. You just laugh at the way we kneel to fear, tracing maps on the inside of my mirror. Signal from the orchard, drifting through my crooked teeth. You say you built your prisons out of comfort out of ease. Take me past the border of this rusted memory. Signal from the orchard, teach my tired eyes to see. Are we late? Did our prayers arrive as ash? You erase every barcode, every flag. Start again on the back of my left hand. I ascend through the cracks in all this glass. Signal from the orchard drifting through my crooked teeth. You say you called it progress while you bled the roots beneath. Take me past the border of this rusted memory. Signal from the orchard, leave your quiet mark in me.
Their darkest little secret, the one they buried under manipulation and mind games. And now they wonder why you're not the same. You refuse to play their game. Come on, baby, light my flame. Oh wait, I already lit the switch. And look at you twitching light.
Light.
Putting up your last fight. Your energy, your light,
Your essence.
whatever you want to call that raw power that makes you different from the rest. Let it out and be your best. Remember how drained you felt after spending time with them, and you came home empty? They thought you were a lamb while they laughed like Pan. They're what they call soul vampires. They identified that spark in you, and now they are out of the dark, and now they wonder why you're not the same. You refuse to play their game. Come on, baby, light my flame. Soul vampires.
Soul vampires.
You have no one else to blame. Welcome to the new game. I'm telling you, they were livestock, a lamb, while they laughed like Pan. Composed notes that would keep you in line, but you can't do that to the sublime. You lost your mind, and now you're blind.
Never mind.
You have the spark, and now they're out of the dark.
Welcome back to Not My Rabbit Hole. And so Taj, first of all, I want to let people know that Taj and I are going to do this. Like, I've decided we're going to do this every Sunday, right? At 12 noon, we're going to do another topic. The next topic that we're going to talk about is you showed me a video of a guy who was an actor. Tell us about it. We're going to go into the underground tunnel thing.
I'm not sure if he was an actor. He worked at Starbucks.
Oh, Starbucks. That's right.
They worked at a Starbucks. I think it was Universal Studios in LA. And then one day he was told to go work at another Starbucks. And he was given these directions and instructions. Get in this elevator. Make sure you're the only one in the elevator. Press basement level 3. So he had to wait like 10-15 minutes because it was busy until he was the only one in the elevator. He went down to basement level 3, and then he got out and walked out and found this old woman there, and this like underground Starbucks. So it's just like a Starbucks, but it's like underground. And then she told him this is called I think it's called the Actor Barn. So it's an underground road network that actors, celebrities, and the elite use in Los Angeles. So if they don't want to like get stuck in traffic, they just enter like somewhere, they all know where the entrances are. They have some kind of special card or whatever that allows them access to this underground road network. And then this road network has Starbucks, and he was asked to work there, and he was told, "Don't talk."
Oh, he was asked to work at the Starbucks for the people underground.
Yeah.
So he got like promoted to serving the elite down
Yeah, it's like she said, "Oh, you must be, doing really well because not everybody gets to work down here, And he was given like a set of rules that he has to follow.
Uh-huh.
Basically, it's all done like by computer or something. So an order comes up on his screen, and it says this person's name, like Seinfeld, like something, whatever.
Seinfeld
is coming in 2 minutes.
Jerry Seinfeld's down there getting a Starbucks.
There's like Jay Seinfeld.
Jay, yeah.
And coming in 2 minutes, and this is his order. And it'll be like whatever his order is, double frappuccino, whatever. And he has to get the order ready. And then when they arrive, he just hands them a drink. And he can't say anything to them. Don't talk to them unless they talk to you. If they say thank you, you say thank you back, but you don't converse with them at all. All right, otherwise you'll get fired or whatever. And
don't make eye contact. Don't make eye contact. Yeah.
Yeah. He opens a slot or whatever, and he just sticks his hand out with a drink and gives it to
Oh,
them.
right. Really? That much? That like he can't tell who, he can't even see them. He just reaches his arm through a slot.
It's like a booth.
A booth?
Just like a glass booth, just like in a regular Starbucks. Wherever the drive-through is on your Starbucks, there'll be like a window, wouldn't there? Where you open up the window and you hand it.
Maybe you can't see them because they shapeshift underground. So the lizard comes up and gets their Starbucks. Thanks, man. They don't want to see. Yeah, speaking of Jerry Seinfeld, Jerry. I used to teach traffic school, and it was called Laughs Are Us, and that time where in LA, in California, right. When you get a traffic ticket, you can go to school. So one time per year or whatever so that it doesn't go on your driver's record. And at one point they said, oh, let's have comedians, or let's make it fun. Let's make it like Laughs Are Us. So I worked at this place called Laughs Are Us. And I eventually was able to be an instructor, but, which I don't know how that happened because I'm a shitty driver, but it happened. And I was taking orders, like reservations for it. And a guy called in. This is before I knew Jerry Seinfeld before he got a show. I didn't know him, but I'd seen him at the Improv before, so I knew of him, right? And so this guy calls in before he's really big, and he goes, yeah, I'd like to make a reservation for a traffic school. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, what day do you want to go? Blah, blah, blah. And I go, can I get your name? And he goes, yeah, my name is Jerry Seinfeld. And I, spelled it out and all this kind of stuff, And I go, there's a comedian named Jerry Seinfeld. And he goes, I am that comedian.
Right.
Right. So when you brought up to Jerry Seinfeld getting the Starbucks underground,
Yeah. I mean, in the video I sent you, the guy quizzes him, he asks, what's Oprah's drink? What's this guy's drink? What's that guy? And he tells them what their drink is, what they order.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So he knew Oprah's order. I can't remember what her order was, crunchy thing, some kind of crunchy drink or something. And Seinfeld's drink, and I think it was another person that he asked what's their drink, what's their go-to drink, and so he knew what they drink. Basically.
So we know that Oprah and Jerry Seinfeld are going to survive the apocalypse, basically. Right?
Well,
they have been chosen. Is Ellen down there? I'm wondering.
Ellen's over here somewhere, I think, in Ireland or something.
She went to England. She got fed up with the U.S. Yeah.
Yeah, but we don't want her here anymore. Get
out of England! Get out of the UK, Ellen.
She's having trouble selling her house. No one wants to buy it. So I wonder why.
They probably think it's cursed. They're gonna find the head of Anne Heche in her freezer. You thought the alien being in a freezer was a big deal, right? Well, I'm really into the underground, because I heard a long time ago, somebody told me I think I met this guy like Bernie's Beanery or something like that on Santa Monica, and he was kind of like a conspiracy guy and everything. And he was telling me, he's like, you know that the elite have stuff underground, and they live under that. They're just not even like us at all. Anyway, so that's an interesting topic that we're going to go into maybe next week. I think we're going to do that. So if you guys make sure that you follow, and I'm going to do like a little show thing. Like YouTube gives us like a show, so I can do like, this is like episode 1, or maybe I should do the Max Spears one as episode 1, because we were talking about stuff about that. And then just like, this is like, and we'll just do like a, Taj and Tere investigate.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it sounds good. No, I'm actually back in, I go back to school next week, and I got a new job, and it's a real job. So I've got to do like a lot of work. So I think like for right now, like I probably will do like one vertical live stream or something like that, where I'm just talking about stuff, one on my own per week, and then actually do our show on Sundays for a while, and just kind of keep things going. Since I like to dissect things. Hello, Cameron Hayes. Welcome to Not My Rabbit Hole. So if you have any questions, you guys, on what we're looking at, let us know. We are covering the Contact in the Woods, the Dr. Jonathan Reed story. Right. Yeah. Whatever his name is. Reed. I wanted to say Rutler. Okay. Yeah, because like we're not sure. So we just talked about the link. Okay, Dr. Jonathan Reed and John Bradley Rutler. So in terms of his name, because there's a discrepancy that he was a doctor at all, but we've already talked about that. So, and again, in terms of the dog, there's no veterinary records, there's no dog license records, adoption documents, photographs of himself with Susie before the encounter, statements from a veterinarian, testimony from neighbors who regularly saw the dog. So there's a big question on that. So I want to go with this video. Really got me in terms of the videos that Dr. Reed sent him, this YouTuber.
Yeah.
Right? He interviewed him. It's the Polarity channel. This is fair use. So we're just going to show like a portion for the discussion and educating the public. Got my banner going on there. So let's take a look at his video here. He explains it. I'm going to kind of
times than I can count ever since I started investigating it. And this video is going to be the 4th and final in this series of investigating the Dr. Jonathan Reed alien in the freezer case. Now, you might have seen the first 2 videos I did just over a year ago, investigating the footage that most people have probably seen by now. If you know about this case, if you haven't, I'd recommend going to watch those videos first. They'll be linked in this playlist. And then recently I had the chance to interview him. I sat down with him for over 3 hours. That was about a week ago that came out on the channel. So hopefully most people have had a chance to digest that by now. But I did promise to give you guys my final thoughts on it. And I wanted to do that whilst presenting to you a bunch of photos that Dr. Jonathan Reed sent to me after the interview had finished. And the reason why I didn't include some of these photos in the interview is because they kind of changed how I felt. Had I have seen these photos before the interview or during the interview, I would have liked to ask more questions about them. But ultimately, I think these photos kind of settle generally how I feel. We're going to go through all of them and we're going to analyze them, and I'm going to show you some of the ones that I think are worth noting. There are going to be some that you might have seen before as well, but these came directly from Dr. Jonathan Reed. So this is the best evidence that he has to put forward. We're going to look through the final tranche, if you will, of photos from the Dr. Jonathan Reed case. Welcome to Polarity. My name is Josh. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. Okay,
and I'm going to make sure that I have this video sourced afterwards. But okay, so here's him as a child, right? So he sent him this.
Towards the end. But here we go. Let's kick it off. The first one here is just a photo of young Dr. Jonathan Reed. There's really not too much to say about this one, but even though...
Okay, and so that one he shows, and here's like a picture of Dr. Jonathan Reed, in a hotel room.
A little bit younger here, but the quality of photo is good. And I say that because I can't say that for a lot of the photos that we're about to look at.
Okay, and I also want to comment, between you and I, Chaz, Taj. I don't know why I'm calling you Chaz. Taj, do you notice how dark his mustache is compared to his hair? Like, it seems like his mustache never going gray. Isn't that interesting?
Bit of a joke going around that he dyes his mustache.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. There's some. I saw some in some forum or something, or some comments in videos, joking about his, he ran out of dye or something for his mustache or something. But yeah, I mean, I would say he dyes his mustache. Don't know why. Some guys do that. I don't know. It's not really my thing. But I mean, it's obvious he's got grey hair. But why would you dye your mustache black?
Right, and not your hair, right?
Yeah,
just your mustache.
I
Yeah,
know.
it's kind of interesting the way the contrast. Okay, so
It
he talks about.
gives him a very distinctive look. Like he doesn't look like other people, grey hair, black mustache, So.
Oh, anyway, yeah, it's kind of okay. So let's. He's going to describe this video a little bit in comparison to the others.
And I don't know what that means. Doesn't necessarily mean it's something sus, but it is weird that a lot of the photos that we're going to look at here aren't the best quality. Now, this one's obviously from when the event happened. This is the obelisk. If you've watched the videos, most people have probably seen this image before, but this is the obelisk that he says that he touched, that if you listen to the interview that I did with him, momentarily made him feel like he was put through a portal to somewhere else, as he described it. So this is the first one that's, I guess, a little bit odd. It says here, I discovered evidence in Dr. Jonathan Reed's case to be factual and genuine. And this is from a man named Zohar G, Dr. Zohar Gutierrez.
And like what he finds out about this is that there is no confirmation that he can find a Dr. Zohar Gutierrez. So that was something that he brought up on it. This too is kind of interesting. Let's take a look at this.
He has the negatives. He has the copies of the negatives of the analysis.
Okay, wait.
As he told us in part of the story. I'm not totally sure. But again, I'm just going to show you everything that got sent to me. So these are the negatives. Now, in the story, he said that he has the negatives. He has the copies of the negatives of the original photos. It's strange that we're getting it like this because this is clearly a screenshot taken from someone's mobile phone, artbell.s3.com. Extraordinary 35mm film negatives, non-digital photographs taken during an encounter of the fourth and fifth kind from the extraterrestrial contact case of Dr. Jonathan Reed, validation and authentication by Eastman Kodak. Now, it all looks and sounds great. At the end of the day, anyone can put text over an image, though. I just want to say that. And when we're looking at these photos, I want to say, guys, I'm gonna be completely objective. I'm not going to be favorable to believing him or even disbelieving him. I'm just going to tell you exactly what we can see, what I feel, and the things that come to my mind when we look at it. And ultimately, I want you guys to make up your own mind. This is the first one where it gets a little bit interesting here because you can see here at the bottom, this photo, again, we've probably all seen this before. It seems like it's taken either from the footage itself or it's a still photo taken at the same time that the footage that we've seen was taken. But what's more interesting is this here. So this is obviously a close-up shot of an eyeball. The skin texture does seem to match the being that we see here. But why this is interesting is because in the video, I've never seen this image before, but in the interview that I did with him, he said that as you pulled this, what he called like a lens, like a protective lens away from the eye, it had an eyeball that was very similar to a human eye. It even looks a little red in some of the photos that I've seen.
Okay, so I'm going to move on a little bit farther. This is him, some footage of him here.
I found it interesting, the eyeball picture.
Uh-huh.
Did you see what reflection was in the eyeball?
Yeah. What was it? I couldn't write. Want to go back? Here, let me go back to it.
There's the kind of lights you would find in like a hospital. Like there are 4 lights there, you see?
Uh-huh.
That's not a normal, do you see those 4 round lights?
Yeah.
That's not what you would normally find in like a home, in your house kind of thing. That's
right.
More like something at a dentist or a hospital or something like that, where they want a lot of light down on the subject kind of thing.
Right.
That's the kind of light I would see in a dentist. You know, when you go to the dentist, you sit in a chair, they put that bright light right in your face.
Right.
What that looks like to me.
Right. Or even maybe it could be photography lights too.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah.
And
But this was supposed to be 1996, and he's not supposedly not a professional videographer or professional photographer. So why
but he
would
just
he
happens to have his camera and a camera recorder, ready to
and
go.
professional lighting as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. I mean, yeah. So, okay, let's play a little bit of this right here.
Believe it or not, the eyes reflected the light, which caused them to have a refraction of a reflection. Okay, a red reflection.
Interesting.
Not every animal does that. Not every, cats that are nocturnal have that really strong. And so maybe it was more nocturnal, but it had an inside eyelid, almost like if you and I had a big contact lens put in our eyes to be like a sunglass, because I opened the eyes and I moved that inner eyelid because it was separate. It was not connected to its
and like, did I guess like the alien doesn't go into rigor mortis. Or or maybe it wasn't totally dead, but just to be able to like move the eyelid like that. And I don't know, I like the fact that he was totally okay with like, oh, like I'm just gonna touch this and open it up and move an eyelid. And I just find that to be interesting. I also want to mention how did it get his name Freddy? Because they call it Freddy.
He never says that.
Yeah. Like, did the alien? Hey, by the way, my name's Freddy.
He looks like a Freddy,
Yeah, he does. Well, actually,
or Freddy Krueger, more like maybe.
Actually, he looks like Brzezinski. Let me change the thing here. Let me
just on a side note. I think he dyes his eyebrows as well.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, yeah. I think so too. Okay, see, here's Brzezinski. Doesn't he look like that? The alien.
Oh right.
Right.
Yeah, he looks quite creepy, reptilian.
I know, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so Siren is saying, dang, that's the thickest mustache. Yeah, okay. And she says, it's a giant millipede, LOL. And then she says his eyebrows are almost as bad. Right. Okay, so let's go back to this right here. Okay. Yeah, his eyebrows are dark. His eyebrows and his mustache, but his hair went gray.
I was just setting on the top of I moved the whole
like
thing.
Like a giant contact lens.
Right, and you can see that in the video.
Did you remove that at all?
No, I just moved it. I didn't take it out. I don't know why. I just didn't.
When you moved it, did you move it enough to see what was behind it?
Yes.
Like the actual eye?
Yes, I saw. That's what I'm saying. I pushed it up out of the way, and I could see the iris, the part of our eyes that produce the color. And I said it was kind of a dark purplish veined red. And it had the same kind of capacity as our eyes, where the iris opens and closes like a camera lens to let the different amounts of light in. And the rest of it was white.
And that is kind of what you see here. There's no other image like this in the set.
Okay, and so I'm going to go on more. Okay, so he sent these pictures, right?
Yeah.
And then there is him with Art Bell, right?
Again, even that looks very well.
See, his eyebrows are lighter here, right?
Yeah, even thinner, yeah.
Yeah, and thinner.
I thought he only phoned into Art Bell. I didn't know he actually met him in person.
Right.
Does that look photoshopped? Yeah, I know.
Well, this, he talks about this photo. Let's see what he says.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Well, in this case, that Jonathan Reed's story really blew up when he went on Art Bell, and he went on there multiple times to tell his story. And you can actually find those full interview recordings on YouTube if you search the right thing. I guess worth noting as well that he's written here 1945 to 2018, meaning that I guess this image, this, somewhat infographic of his story was put together after 2018. And as we all know, this case took place in 1996. As it says here, on October 15th, 1996, in this place, my life forever changed. Dr. Jonathan Reed. So this is obviously the forest where the encounter happened, where he saw this alien that killed his dog, where he eventually took it home. And this is the first one where it gets kind of interesting, and I'm not sure really what it means, but we're going to dig into it a bit. This is Dan McAvoy, and he was allegedly the lead investigator into Dr. Jonathan Reed's case back in the 90s. And it says here at the bottom, chief investigator for the research of Dr. Reed's encounter case. Now, I remember when I first looked into this, hearing about Dan McAvoy, and I remember when I was making those first two videos, trying to find out more about him because, you know, prominent UFO researchers we sort of hear about, like, you know, Linda Moulton Howe, George Knapp, like, we sort of know about these people, right? I'd never heard of Dan McAvoy before. Now,
Okay, yeah. So he goes through like a lot of things, saying that there are a lot of people that he sources that really didn't, like, we're not part of that. Like, let's say they're not part of the, you know, the conferences that you do, or, you know, they're not known in the UFO community. They have no legacy. Here he is with Jaime Maussan. See what he says about this.
Reed with Jaime Maussan. And as you know, if you watch the podcast and if you watch the other investigation videos, Jaime Maussan was kind of pivotal to Jonathan Reed really getting on television and really kind of taking it to the next level with getting his face out there and getting his story out there. Interestingly, in the podcast interview, Dr. Jonathan Reed says he doesn't trust him. And I guess they've put in a nice galaxy background on this one for effect.
Okay, so, and then he shows this picture. I guess, like, who's this?
Emily, something like that. Not too much else to say about this one.
Okay, then there's this that he sent. But there's some stuff that looks really, okay, this is interesting, right? This, I want to show the commentary that he says about this.
Dr. Jonathan Reed's book. Travis has got a VIP necklace around his neck.
So this guy, let's go back a little bit farther. Okay.
Huge, powerful forces here that can do things like this. Like this is real. So I think that's what makes this all really hard. Here's a photo of his book. It's called Link, an Extraterrestrial Odyssey, The True Story of Alien Contact by Dr. Jonathan Reed and Robert Wraith. And the book itself is available at amazonkindle.com. Dr. Jonathan Reed and Travis Walton. Now, this is an interesting photo. Travis Walton is holding Dr. Jonathan Reed's book. Travis has got a VIP necklace around his neck. Dr. Jonathan Reed not wearing it. So I can only assume that this is some kind of meet and greet for Travis Walton rather than Dr. Jonathan Reed. Maybe Dr. Jonathan Reed has gone there with the book, maybe to get it signed or gift a copy. I'm totally just speculating here. I would love if someone who knew Travis Walton could ask him his opinion on Dr. Jonathan Reed. The photo itself, again, I can't see anything in it on face value that makes me think that it is like photoshopped. Like the lighting seems relatively consistent, like the shadows being cast here on Travis Walton. You know,
I think this is real. My question about it, Taj, is that is the fact that, like, did he just walk up and say hi and would you know, here's my book, I signed it for you, would you take a picture with me? Like, were they doing something together, or did he take an opportunity to do a photo op? What do you think about that?
Yeah, he's trying to build credibility to his story. Like, I know Travis Walton, he believes me, here's a photo of us together. You know, that's what it looks like to me. Whereas he probably just, you know, walked up to him at a conference and said, can I get a photo with you with my book or something? Here's a copy of my book. And Travis just held up the book, you know, and said, thank you. And it's just a photo of them together. They probably 30 seconds, maybe they were together for that photo or whatever. And then, you know, I've been to many of these conferences where you can take, you know, if you're there, you can get a photo op with any of the speakers. You know, I've got pictures with Linda Moulton Howe and other people. Doesn't mean I know her personally, you know. So
right, yeah, yeah. And we got welcome, Terium Firma. He says, I remember Dr. Reed's story from back in the day, and he says his vids were brilliant. So let us go a little bit farther here. This one is here. So basically what he says here is that The guy that he took the picture with, that's in the photo with him, this is the movie prop for Fire in the Sky based on his book that he wrote about his encounter.
Yeah.
And then they're showing Dr. Reed's, and they're showing, like, they're trying to say, is it the same alien? And his argument was, well, could he just like have copied himself after him, you know, in the comparison? Because in a way, we kind of have like a standard shaped head size, what an alien looks like, with the head and the little eyes and the small mouth, right?
Yeah, I think he's trying to say he could have taken the idea from Fire in the Sky.
Yeah.
His alien looks similar to the one portrayed in Fire in the Sky. And the one, I'm assuming they got that one from Travis Walton's description. So maybe he thought, well, if I get a picture of Travis Walton, it might, you know, give some legitimacy to my story, kind of thing. So
yeah,
that's probably the thing, yeah.
Yeah. And that's kind of like the theory. Here's the obelisk. We've kind of shown that. And he has kind of the same thoughts we do on this. Let's show. And here's like a picture with some people that nobody knows who they are.
Nobody knows who they are, yeah. I mean, the older guy with the beard sort of looks familiar, but I don't know.
Right. This guy here with the suit, he looks kind of like on the left, yeah.
I'm not sure who he is, yeah.
Any of these other people are completely unrecognizable. And then
the car crash.
The car crash. Yeah, the car crash. Let's talk about the car crash. This is important to like this is yeah, let's go here. Wait, let's go past this
Help a lot of people out. Okay. This one. So if you watch the podcast, you would have heard Dr. Jonathan Reed talk about how he's had many attempts on his life. Okay. And so we've got multiple pictures here. We've got Dr. Jonathan Reed covered in blood in the top left, and he's holding something to his head. And we can zoom in on this a little bit. It is a little bit graphic, but hopefully it's okay. And it also says police verified cause of accident and death of driver, as well as head injury to passengers, was due to high-powered rifle shots. Here we can see, it's hard to identify if it's him, but we can assume it's Dr. Jonathan Reed here in hospital, but you can't quite tell. I'm not going to zoom in on that other photo because it's quite graphic. This one here, we have an upturned car, looks, you know, pretty wrecked and in a bad way. When I first saw this, especially the photo of Jonathan in the top left there, the first thing that popped to my head was this: Arsen Ostrovsky. Now, if you don't know who this guy is, he is a Jewish man who is potentially the luckiest man on earth. He was present during the October 7th attacks and survived. And he also just happened to be on Bondi Beach during the shooting in December last year. And this photo that you see here is a selfie that he took after he'd been shot in the head and was lying on the ground. Now, this is like immediately, I found this weird, and this isn't a video about this, but I'm not going to say this is a hoaxed event because it's real. Whether it's staged or not, I think that's another question. People could ask, when you've been shot in the head and you're covered in blood, is taking a selfie the most normal thing to do? Personally, I would say no, but I've never been in that situation, so I can't really comment further. One thing I did notice, though, is that you see his arm outstretched here, obviously, to take the selfie. And when we look at the photo of Dr. Jonathan Reed up here, he's actually doing the same thing. At least it looks like. This left arm here seems to be stretched out so he can take a photo of himself covered in blood. Now, I don't know. Again, I'm not going to say either way because I don't know. But just on face value, looking at both of these photos, there is a feeling of it being staged. It does feel that way. But again, I have no proof either way. This isn't just my thoughts. This photo kind of went viral because everyone was like, bro, who the hell takes a selfie when you've just been shot in the head? And fair enough. Let's keep going with the photos.
Right. Okay. So I think he makes a really valid point there on that. Possibly. Again, like, who's to say? So here's the thing with the link here and how it's connected to these other hieroglyphics.
Thing like that. I mean, again, there's no context with these photos. There is Skinny Bob up here again next to some hieroglyphics. It's hard to know what's what here and what's trying to be depicted. Dr. Jonathan Reed next to what looks like sort of an alien head artifact or something like that. Another close-up of the artifact link itself, probably one of the better quality photos that we have of this object.
And if you're coming in late, these are some photos that Dr. Jonathan Reed sent to Polarity, and when he interviewed him. And we're just this YouTube host has a discrepancy against the validity of Dr. Jonathan Reed after seeing these photos. And he was sent these photos after he interviewed him. So, he says that had he known it before, he would have had a different opinion before he interviewed him. So
Freddy up close, another photo that you guys have probably all seen many times. This is probably the best photo that exists of this obelisk object that was floating in the air. I mean, it's hard to do any kind of analysis on this other than the lighting. And this object was apparently, van to black, something that kind of light doesn't really reflect off properly. As far as what we can see, I mean, it all looks kind of normal. There's a much darker shadow on the bottom. There's kind of a distorted, broken shadow on the top, which you would kind of expect with light shining through trees. You've probably got branches and things that are obstructing that sunlight. So
it almost looks like a kite to me.
Yeah.
Okay, so it goes on, and he shows more photos of people. Oh, this is interesting. I want to go through this. Oh, here's Susie. Let's do the thing about Susie coming up.
Again,
Susie.
Yeah.
Again, kind of cropped in. Would have been nice to see the whole thing, but absolutely. R.I.P. Susie. What a beautiful girl. More alien photos. Again, these are just stills, so we don't need to spend too much time on this. But it's these last two that things get kind of interesting. This is a photo of Dr. Jonathan Reed with Congressman Tim Burchett. Now, this is the one photo that he didn't send me. I found this one. But between the photos of him standing with various other known people, such as Travis Walton, it kind of seemed like it fit in this set. It's kind of like another one that I feel like could have been in here. And why this is interesting, obviously, because Tim Burchett is one of the leading names when it comes to this UAP Transparency Act and pushing the disclosure conversation forward. It's a old looking photo. It's pretty poor quality. The less resolution you have in an image, the less data and information you have to work with in dissecting it and running it through programs to kind of analyze, is there something in this that's dodgy? Like, is this photoshopped or anything like that? So, the worse the photo is, it's harder to tell. But I think there are many people in this space who have Tim Burchett's number. I'm sure someone could ask him. I try to stay one step removed away from that world, but I know that there are many people who don't. It would be great.
Maybe we should ask him. What do you think, Taj?
Ask who?
The congressman, if he actually met him, and ask him about that photo.
I'm sure. No, is the next one. This is a really
okay. This is the one that gets me. This is the one that turns me about everything. Okay, here it's going to come up.
Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna. So maybe that's another person we could ask. But this brings us to the final photo. Dr. Jonathan Reed with Pope Francis. He spoke about this photo in the interview.
I ended up talking with the Pope Francis, who invited me to come to the Vatican to tell my story to him. He wanted to know about this. He had heard this, or somebody in his group had heard this on the radio at a podcast that I did in Italy. And they got to me, they said, this is what we'd like to do. We'd like to invite you. And we stayed in the Vatican. We stayed in their area where they put people up. It's almost
when was it? What year was this?
2013.
Wow, so this is recent. Do you have any photographs of being there with him that you can share?
Yeah, I do.
People
End up saying, they end up saying, oh, it's fake.
Okay, again, he's asking him there, do you have any photos that you can share? So he sent him these photos after this interview.
Yeah, he sent him one photo. Look, I'll tell you something.
Yeah.
I've been to the Vatican, okay? And I took hundreds of photos, okay? It is an amazing place. And you're telling me he took one photo with the Pope? Yeah. I would be there taking dozens of photos with the Pope, not just one. And where I was staying, I'd be taking photos of where I'm staying. The Vatican. I mean, if you've been to the Vatican, it's a beautiful place. The artwork and all that kind of stuff. I literally took hundreds of photos when I was in the Vatican. I was only there for like 3-4 hours. So if he was staying there and he has only one photo with the Pope,
Right. Yeah.
come on, please.
Yeah.
Really, show this is 2013, so we're talking like digital cameras. He wouldn't be using an old 35mm. There's no like limit to how many photographs you can take. In 2013, everyone's got a digital camera or a phone, iPhone. You can take hundreds of photos, but he only has one. That looks, as you can see, it doesn't even look genuine to me. But
Right. No, it doesn't. It doesn't look genuine. Yeah. I mean, that was the worst one. I'm like, no freaking way. No freaking, that cannot be real. But and let's keep watching, because I think this is the most interesting part of this video. So let's continue.
You put it in Photoshop and, well, how do you answer to that? You just say, you can think what you want.
And like I said, I hadn't seen this photo when he's saying that. And that's why I didn't show you. Because when I did get to see it, straight away, this sticks out to me as being Photoshopped. Okay? And
duh! Right?
I don't like saying that. I don't want to try and call anyone out. But do you guys know I come from a visual effects background. So I feel like I have to protect my own integrity here as an artist or as a former artist, and just say that blatantly on face value, this photo looks wrong. And the first things that just stick out immediately to me are the fact that Jonathan Reed looks like he's being lit by a very...
Yeah.
Can you see like where his jacket ends, the black and the white?
Yeah.
I can actually see a black line going down.
Yeah, right here.
From the shoulder, or I can see a black line where someone's like used paintbrush or something to mask where he's like added himself. I can see the paint line.
Yeah, you can.
You can see a black line there because it's not exactly the same color as his jacket.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's so obvious that it's just
so obvious once you point it out. It is pretty obvious.
Yeah, and then the differences between the color of their skin. I mean, how do you fake that kind of lighting? The lighting is completely different.
Yeah, unless the Pope had white light pointing directly at him and he had a yellow light pointing directly at him. I mean, that doesn't make any sense. Even then, I mean, the whole thing with obviously he's not very good at Photoshop or whatever, but it's obvious to me. It's just he's just stuck himself in there.
Yeah, because he was doing the interview and he goes, "Can you send me a picture of it?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure." And so this is what he did.
But even the area behind him,
right?
You see how it's blurred?
Yeah, like right around his head, right there.
Yeah, see the pattern's all perfect except around his head.
Right in, yep.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, let's hear a little bit more what he says about it.
Warm yellow light, and the Pope, who's right next to him, seems like he's being lit by a very cool light. It's like they're under completely different light sources and being stuck together. That's not normal. And I think most people, when they see this, they can see something looks off. And let me tell you, that's what it is. It's the lighting that makes you go, what's going on here? Upon closer inspection of this, and maybe some of you guys have spotted it already, if you zoom in here, there is a blatant, what I would call paint stroke here to do what seems like cover up the edge where this has been edited. And, maybe you could even see here, like the edge of the sleeve is not quite joining. You guys can see that. And maybe...
Right. And then like, as he goes, you can see like where it is. I'm going to go a little bit farther here. Where he talks about how he put this through Grok. This gets me right here, right around here. Okay, so let's go with. That's why you have to be careful about AI, because AI is not. It's biased. It will hallucinate, and so even though you might be using artificial intelligence as a research engine or like a check, AI might not be able to really decipher at this point. Like you send them a photo like this and they may not be able to say, "Oh, that doesn't look right." I've done that before. They go, "Oh, the metadata isn't there," or whatever. But anyway, so he puts it through Grok
to some degree, which probably suggests the rest of it has been too. Interestingly, I actually ran this through an AI. I said, who is in this photo and what can you tell me about it? And basically it identified the Pope on the right as Pope Francis, but it couldn't identify the person on the left, which, you know, is kind of normal. I would expect an AI to just know who Dr. Jonathan Reed is. This is fine. But then I said, is it a real photo? I did the old Grok. Is this real? And I think we should let this be a lesson to all of us, because Grok said, yep, appears to be real. No obvious signs of AI generation or manipulation. And look, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I am wrong. I'll always reserve the fact that I could be wrong, but I don't think that I am, at least when it comes to this photo. And I think Grok is wrong here. This photo, I think you could ask anyone who's maybe a photographer who edits photos or even edits videos, that just based on the lighting alone, something is off. But then when you get in deep and you look at that, come on, bro. Let's not play games around here. And I actually think it's crazy that Grok couldn't even pick up the lighting issue, and it couldn't even pick that up. So, you know, when it comes to asking Grok if this is real with your photos and videos, maybe think again. So what are my final thoughts about the Dr. Jonathan?
Okay, and you know, he shares his final thoughts, and he, you know, there's some things that he sees like, you know, being credible in this, you know, but at the same time has issues with, you know, like the Pope picture. He just can't seem to get over, really. So bottom line is like, what documentary should have investigated is Jonathan Reed's legal identity, John Bradley Rudder. Where did he earn his doctorate? Was he ever licensed to practice psychology? Are any former colleagues willing to verify his career? But did Susie exist? Hold on. Let me go on here. Are there veterinary records or photographs of the dog? Where are the original camera tapes? Have the tapes been examined for edits and generational copying? Who manufactured the humanoid figure, if it was a prop? Was the obelisk photographed from multiple angles? Where were measurements of the alleged craft taken? Where are the original biological samples? What were Harold Chacon's actual qualifications? Did Chacon and Robert Rath know each other before the alleged testing? Why was no complete laboratory report published? Why has no accredited independent laboratory replicated the results? What documentation supports the government persecution allegations? And does the documentary disclose that Reed's own company helped produce it? The strongest evidence for the believers, because these are believers, is Reed produced photographs and video rather than relying exclusively on verbal accounts. His performance in the original footage appears emotionally intense. The creature and the black obelisk have distinct visual designs. Reed has maintained the central story for decades. He subjected himself to repeated interviews and public scrutiny. Some viewers believe the being appears to blink or move. Others believe the psychological distress heard in the recording would be difficult to fake. Supporters interpret the missing evidence and disputed identity records as signs of suppression. The strongest evidence for skeptics, Reed's identity and doctorate were reportedly misrepresented. The dog's existence has not been independently established. People reportedly close to Reed contradicted the dog story. Supporting scientific credentials were challenged. Supposedly independent participants appear to have had previous personal or employment relationships. There's no reliable chain of custody. The alleged body was never submitted for open independent examination. The black craft was never recovered or scientifically measured. Promised DNA evidence was never properly published and replicated. The teleportation video resembles an edited effect. The cover-up explanation makes the story increasingly unfalsifiable. And books, lectures, television appearances, and documentaries created commercial incentives. What are your final thoughts, Taj, on this entire, you know, the documentary, the case, everything? What have you determined from this?
I mean, I do believe the events happened, because I don't, you know, it's a bit of a stretch to say that he fabricated the video evidence, the craft, the link bracelet. There would have to be people involved, unless he's a machinist and a video expert and a photo expert. And there would have to be other people involved who made the footage, who made the bracelet, who made the alien, who did all these things. Yeah, and none of them have come forward and said, yeah, I made that alien, I made the bracelet, I edited the video, So, if they wanted to, prove that he's a fraud and find these people, where are these people who made all this, evidence? So I do believe it was a real event, and the things that happened afterwards were all to discredit the real event, So most of the stuff that I've seen online, most of the people I've seen online believe his story. And even though it was 30 years ago, and we made this sort of analogy before about the alien autopsy, that was still talked about today, about whether it's real. Most people think it's real, but again, that's a different story. I don't see any motive for him to just fabricate it. I mean, has he made millions out of this? Has he become like a superstar, like Bob Lazar or Dr.
Kind of. I mean,
Yeah.
sort of. I would say, with his exposure, and it's been, it happened in 1996. I think he has made some sort of mark.
Yeah, well, I mean, most people today, if you said this, I've mentioned this story to a few people and they haven't heard of it. Bob Lazar's obviously more popular or more.
Oh yeah, definitely. Not as much as, yeah.
Yeah, so maybe they're bringing his story back because everyone's interested in Bob Lazar, and even what's his name from Fire in the Sky is doing conferences and interviews right now, and maybe Dr. Jonathan Reed or Rutter or whatever his name is thought there's an opportunity for me to cash in on my story, but I do believe him. I just think the discrepancies, the biggest one for me is probably the fake name and the fact that, is he really a doctor? Because if he's going to lie about being a doctor, then what else would he lie about? But then, you have to go into he's not capable of producing all this, the bracelet, the video stuff, the alien, unless he's some kind of, genius or something to create all this evidence. I would say even the floating obelisk craft, how would you even do that? I mean, yeah, if you're a filmmaker, you could do it. If you're a CGI expert, but then you'd have to be like a prop expert and to create the link and to create the alien, you'd have to know someone in the film or movie industry who's capable of making something believable like that. Like, the alien moving, you would need animatronics. I don't know what the 1990s animatronics were like, but probably reasonable. It's a lot of people would have to be involved, is what I'm saying, other than Dr. Jonathan Reed, and no one's come forward and said, yeah, I made the alien, I made the bracelet, I faked the video for him, this is how we did it. None of these people have come forward. So that's what leans, for me anyway, leans toward it being real.
Okay. All right. So you're saying, okay. All right. I'm a bit more of a skeptic, obviously. I mean, I have to have more proof for things. And I have a discrepancy, number one, about him not being a real doctor, or him not being able to confirm the fact that he is a doctor. My feeling is that, because I was like, why do that? To me, I feel like that is an effort to give false credibility that he doesn't really possess. And so I have an issue with that. I also find it odd that he just happened to have a camera with him that day while he was taking a walk, and the whole hour-and-a-half walk. They're just things that just don't seem logical. Like like when the documentary starts, he's like, "Oh, I'm taking my dog out for a walk," and so you think like a walk is like, oh, you're going to walk for like 20-40 minutes. You're not going to go like an hour and a half into the woods and just happen to have your camera with you. you, and then, hit the alien over the head and then go back to your car and come back and, just happen to have one of those thermal blankets to wrap it up in. Thank you so much for Nikki Grace for giving me 650 jewels and giving a gift to Not My Rabbit Hole. So thank you. I need to get like one of those like things that Stephen Cambion does, right? Yeah, we do take super chats and super thanks to here on Not My Rabbit Hole. So if you do want to support the channel, you like us, thank you so much. Again, Nikki, you can, we definitely love that. Again, Taj and I are going to be here every Sunday as well. So that part got me. I like the fact that he got named Freddie, like just all of a sudden it was Freddie. I'm like, well, why Freddie? I don't know why that bothered me, but the whole Freddie thing. And I have a problem with, I mean, not to say that the bracelet isn't real. I just feel like, and I think that this happens in the UFO community. Okay, let's say you have a real story, right? A real happening. And then all of a sudden there's this new addition. Like, oh, we take it even farther. And I think that I'm gonna draw it to the fact that some people would, tell, like there were stories of people telling Max, like Miles would say, can you come up with something new? Like people want something new, and once maybe they get a taste of like being in the public eye or on that, and they just go farther and farther and farther and farther until it's until they go, oh yeah, and then I met the Pope. And then the guy goes, and then he says, can you show me some pictures of you with the Pope? And then he sends this picture where it's completely, like, totally, you can tell that it's photoshopped. And that's why I go, no. I like I got lost at Blue Avians, really, with David Wilcock and Corey Good. Like, I'm like, okay, no, I'm not going to believe in the blue chicken, right? I just know, like, there's some that I just snap and I go, no, absolutely not. Like, no, like when I saw the Pope picture, I'm like, oh, it's gone. I'm gone. So so for me, that means that there's a point of dishonesty with Dr. Jonathan Reed. Therefore, the dishonest behavior makes me feel like he's just, keeping this going because this is a really relevant topic and you get to go on and then you can, you leave this earth with some sort of notoriety. Maybe he didn't make a whole lot of money. On the other hand, when you watch the documentary and you watch him retell the story, he's so emotional about it and so convincing that when he recalls his memory of the incident, it feels really authentic. And that's the part that, makes me want to like believe in it. Like the whole, like him bleeping out and the poof of the light and everything going up. I was like, no way. There's not enough for me to be completely convinced. I will say this, at the very least, if I were going to believe in anything and any theory about it, that maybe there was something that did happen that, but that he made the story more and more and more and more and more and more kind of to keep it going. And therefore, it became like a more fantasy, or there was no way to really confirm what I think in the UFO community, we need more evidence than this. Like we're past like 1996, video cam footage that looks like maybe like, the Blair Witch Project got an idea from, right? I just feel like, if you're going to say that, if we got to really believe that aliens exist, I think that there has to be some sort of, like saying like, where's the DNA? Where's this? Like, there's too many things that you're not able to fact check that you can really verify. For example, like, let's say, in the world of journalism, right? Let's say I was going to write for the Fresno Bee, and the Fresno Bee's like, hey, can you look into the Jonathan Reed story? I would have to point out those inconsistencies, because when you're logically like making a fact check in that world, and I know people go, oh, well, whatever. But, if like, as people, we still need to have certain checks and balances and validation that somebody's testimony is actually totally true. As much as I want to believe that he had contact, that this was it, I find too many discrepancies in the story and verifying his facts.
I'm all about receipts.
Right. Yeah.
I don't post anything without receipts. I don't accuse anyone of anything without receipts. So, yeah, where are the receipts? It's like, all the receipts are his video, his photos. There's no independent, verification of any of it. He hasn't provided any, the DNA's results and analysis of any of it, even the gunshot wound, who treated him, where, when did it happen, whatever, what hospital. There's so many things that don't add up. And maybe, like you said, he wanted to elaborate and make the story more fantastic. So, oh my God, I got shot. Oh my God, here's a bracelet. Oh my God, they're trying to kill me.
Right.
To make it more, juicy kind of thing, add a bit more to it, add a bit more and a bit more. But then how far do you keep going, So maybe he fabricated the gunshot stuff and they're trying to kill him, the car crash, all that kind of stuff to make it look like a bit more, if people think they're trying to kill him, it must be true, right? The story must be true. Why else would they want him dead?
Right. Yeah.
So maybe he fabricated that stuff to make it look more legitimate.
Well, I mean, and I find that a lot of people do that, even within the things that we've experienced. Like, oh, I'm under attack. I'm under this. I'm being gang stalked. I had this happen. I remember being on Revolution Radio and people would say, if their voice got caught up or whatever, they go, I'm having energy. Like they're doing witchcraft on me. The witches are out. They don't want me to say this. This is how important this is that I'm saying this to you. Is that really happening? Or is that just it's more valid because the witches don't want me to say it kind of thing. Right. So anyways, I want to thank you being here today, coming on the show and everything like that. This is really officially our first one. And we're going to be here every Sunday. That would be 8 p.m. UK time. And also 12 p.m. in Pacific Coast, where I'm at, in the very hot and sunny Central Valley, Fresno, California. Fresno. Okay. Anyway, so again, thank you for being here, and like and share. Also, I probably will maybe attach some specials or products to this video, and if you do like them or purchase them, Not My Rabbit Hole gets like a 10%, 50% commission on that. So that'll be I'll be adding that later, and really. I'm going to play the Super Soldier song and then maybe a little video of me dancing around at the end. But pretty much I'm saying good night. Do you want to have it? You want to say, have any last thing to say? I already asked you the last thing, but you can say goodbye too.
Yeah, goodbye everyone, and see you again next week.
Yep. See you next week, you guys.
Us up in white rooms, names gone, numbers sewn in, steel in the rib cage, fire under the skin. You kissed my wrist goodbye. I learned to stand still at the edge of the morning. We were made to be killed, and they said, hold on. Be the wall, be the blade, but I still hear my mother in the wires they lay. Super soldiers break my bones. Super soldiers let me go. We were built to hold the line. Now we want our own lives. Super soldiers, hear me now. Super soldiers, take the crown. If you made me from your fear, I will burn that fear down. Boots on the loading bay, rain on the concrete. We march through the sirens with the news in our teeth. One boy from Glasgow, one girl from the coast. We look like a war machine, but we missed home the most. And they said, smile, be the face on the screen. But my hands keep shaking for the life in between. Super soldiers break my bones. Super soldiers let me go. We were built to hold the line. Now we want our own lives. Super soldiers, hear me now. Super soldiers, take the crown. If you made me from your fear, I will burn that fear I was your halo of glass, your obedient stone. Now I want a warm hand, a name of my own. Keep your medals, keep your gold. I'm not your machine, I'm a soul in a super soldiers break my bones. Super soldiers let me go. We were built to hold the line. Now we want our own lives. Super soldiers, hear me now. Super soldiers, take the crown. If you made me from your fear, I will burn that fear down. Super soldiers, one by one. Super soldiers, we are done. We were made in iron sleep. Now we wake up free. Are we late? Did our press arrive as ash? You erased every barcode, every flag. Start again on the back of my left hand. I can stand through the cracks in all this glass. Signal from the ocean drifting through my crooked teeth. You say you coded progress. Why